I think that's something that I always was confused by when people talked about the whole state management thing, because to me, React was always two things, right? People say that React is a framework. It really isn't, right? React really does two things. It syncs stuff to the DOM, right? You have this declarative declaration of what the DOM should look like, and it makes sure that the DOM matches what you've declared, and it manages state. And that's kind of all that React does, but it does those two pieces, right? It manages state. It has to, because otherwise, where does the state come from for your DOM? It needs to know about the state. And that's really the two only things that React did for a very long time. And there was always this discussion around state management that was always a little bit strange, right? And it feels like the community kind of veered super far into the Flux Redux direction for a few years and was like, everything needs to be Flux or in Redux or like in a central monolithic store. And now the pendulum sort of swung back where it's like, actually, most things should probably be component local state because only that one component cares about it.
Mm-hmm. I had a blog post around that as well that I wrote not too long ago at Formidable, so like about a year ago now, which is called Not All Components Are Created Equal. And that is that exact same idea again, in that we also try to separate what components are and what categories of components there are for so long. Because if you accept granular state, you also have to accept that there are different kinds of components that do different things. And that's the thing, right? There is a differentiation between a global state or data. I just like to call it data, and local state, UI state. Although sometimes it's not just UI state, right? Because you propagate up and down. And to me, that's so interesting because GraphQL has kind of come in and has made this split very clear. I think it's so interesting of a topic because it gives people a clear idea of, okay, this is API state. It just becomes data that flows into my app. I have these queries, I have these fragments, it all flows down, and then I have my UI state. And it all just syncs up really nicely. And I think when people talk about, well, but like GraphQL is hard when you're individual, that's because it does introduce a couple of extra steps to make this separation very clear.